praise the name of the living God. Hope you're fine and Merry Christmas to all of you. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. But if you haven't subscribed to this channel, kindly consider subscribing and become a part of this wonderful family. My name is Maria James and Karibu Sana. So, guys, this time, rather this season, we are at the Christmas season and doing our Christmas, and of course approaching the new year. And I thought it was very, very important for me to emphasize or rather talk about having new beginnings after having new beginnings, and especially in terms of forgiveness and all that. So today, let us discuss or rather talk about true forgiveness and the true meaning of forgiveness. So, guys, forgiveness is a very broad topic. Forgiveness is one of the topics that I personally love. Forgiveness is a topic I can talk and talk, for a very long time and never get bored about it. And this is because it has a very big impact in my life, because of how it has impacted me, because of how it has changed me, because of what it has done in my life in terms of positivity and all that. So forgiveness is very, very important in our lives. Very, very important. Forgiveness is a very big word, and it has a very big impact in our lives. And people perceive forgiveness differently. And I would say that forgiveness involves a decision to let go of revenge, resentment, and even anger that we carry in our hearts towards the offender. And just letting go. And generally, I think it goes beyond letting go and even moving on. Forgiveness involves offering something positive. It involves developing empathy. It also involves compassion and understanding towards the offender. And there's so many benefits that comes with forgiveness. So many benefits, because when you have made a decision to forgive, you will have less anxiety, you will have better mental health, you're going to have better relationships, you're also going uh, to have a better self esteem, and so many benefits of these whole things. And as much as there's benefits, guys, there's also side effects of not forgiving. And one of the first things that you can have is anxiety and depression. You can have so much anger in your heart, you can have low self-esteem, and you find yourself having saying like your life is meaningless because you're not able to forgive. You have so much resentment in your heart, you have so much hate, and also you'll find that you're dwelling in the negative that happened in the past, and therefore you're not enjoying the present and the peace that is in the present. Another thing is that you will not have peace because you're always overthinking. Your heart is just full of so many negative energy, no, negative vibes in your hearts, and therefore not being able to let go and all that. And did I talk of anger? Yes, so much anger can be put in your heart. So there's so many side effects of unforgiving. So it is very, very important to have forgiving in our heart. And let me tell you, forgiveness is not just about letting go. Forgiveness is not forgetting what people did to you. And forgiveness is not just throwing things away and saying whatever they did is okay, just putting things away. Apana, it takes a lot. It is letting go, it is forgiving, it is forgetting, and it is rubbing the whole thing from your heart, which is sometimes very hard. And I always say that forgiving is a process. Yes, it is a process. And obviously, you can't forgive in a day or even in an hour or something like that. It is a process that will go on slowly, but guys, it is a process. It is a process, but it is for you to make a decision that I need to forgive. That's why I said from the beginning that the forgiveness involves a decision making. It involves a decision to let go of resentment, anger, and revenge. So you need to first decide. You need to decide first before doing the actual act of forgiving. And As I've said that it is a broad topic and all that. There's so many ways that you need to consider even before you forgive. Even before you forgive, you need to understand the importance of forgiveness and how it can really impact your life. Think about it in a very deep way. What is forgiveness? How does it impact my life? And then what is unforgiveness? What does it do to me? And when you try to weigh the two things, forgiving and unforgiving, you'll find that forgiveness has a lot of weight because it has so many positive things that will happen in your life after you forgive. But when you don't forgive, there's so many negative things that also happen as well. It's so you need to decide on what side you want to stand. You need to know that forgiveness can really enhance your life in a very, very big way, in a very positive way. So, first of all, decide to forgive. Make a decision to forgive, and then try to understand the offender. As of course, we need to understand the offender and try to understand why they have behaved in such a way, why they got angry, why did they offend us. We need to think about it in a very, very broad way. We also need to discover empathy and compassionate for our offender. We just need to do it. We just need to search it in our hearts. Let us have empathy. Let us have understanding for them that have offended us. And of course, try to put yourself in their shoes. Try to being on the other side. Think of being on the other side. Think of being the offender. What would you have expected to be forgiven or to do? What do you expect to be happening in your lives? Also remember about what the Bible tells us about forgiveness, what the Bible teaches about forgiveness, because the Bible tells us in so many verses in the Bible, it talks about forgiving and forgiving and forgiving. The Bible tells us that we should forgive so that we can be forgiven. So it is also like we need also to imagine, also need to discover that we need to forgive, and also understand that not just what the Bible tells us, because we also find ourselves in the same situation sometimes. And this is why I'm telling you to think about being on the other side. The other side, try thinking of you as an offender. Would you have expected to be forgiven? So try to think of the many times that you have offended other people. Try to think of those moments that you wanted so much to be forgiven. Try to think of those moments that you yourself did wrong to other people and they forgive you. Or rather, what happened? What were the feelings when you were not forgiven? What was the feeling after you were being forgiven? And after, when you think about that, you try to understand where the offenders stand, how they are feeling, how are they okay, or something is actually bothering them in one way or another. They need to think about it in a very, very positive way. You need also to let go of the heart. Decide to let go of the heart, because if you keep the hurtful feelings in your heart, you will never be able to forgive. You need to let them go for you to be able to actually forgive. And I'm saying, like, forgiving is a process, but at the end of the day, as much as it is a process, it is you who makes a decision to either forgive or not to forgive. And let me tell you, forgiveness is an attribute of God himself. So when you decide to forget, you portray his character. Yes, guys, you portray the character of God himself, because he is a forgiving God. And we also need to forgive. And so, like I was saying, it is a process. It is not something that will happen like just naturally. It starts with deciding to forgive, deciding to let go of the hurt, the pains that you feel, the things that were done to you that were negative, things that are not making you feel good. You need to let go of them. Like, try to forget about them, let go. And you need to understand that these things have already happened and there's no way that I'm changing it. Then things cannot change. It has already happened. You've already been hurt, but you don't stick there. You don't dwell there. You also need to make a decision to, like, I need to move on. I need to do this. But until you let go, until you let go of the hurt, you will not be able to forget. And also another important thing, another very, very important thing is to pray for the offender. Pray for our offenders. What? Pray for our offenders. I know, it seems so difficult, but yes, you pray for them. Pray for them, because let me tell you, sometimes even the people offending us, they do it without knowing. Sometimes they also do it knowingly, but we need to pray for them anyway. We need to pray for them regardless. regardless. And let me tell you, you also need to forgive whether they have asked for forgiveness or not. Sometimes it's just about extending your forgiveness to them, even without them coming to say sorry, even without them apologizing. You need to forgive anyway, because that is what the Bible tells us, so that you can be at peace with each and every one around us. So forgiveness is very, very important, guys. I don't know. And guys, I know sometimes it is hard to forgive, but we need to do it anyway. And I know there's so many reasons as to why we should forgive. Yes, forgiving is very, very important. And sometimes we don't do it because of the offender. Sometimes you will realize that forgiving others, you're doing it for you. Because this is doing yourself good, guys. Because when you don't have forgive, you have so much resentment in your heart, so much anger, and so much pain. So when you forgive, all these things are gone. You don't have resentment, you don't have the anger, the verge for revenge and all that. So you realize that you have done it for yourself. So forgiveness, me, I always say that forgiving others is a form of love to yourself. It's not just about loving others, but also loving yourself. Because it will keep you in a good mood. It will keep you in, good vibes. And you get to have peace that is from within. Because when you don't forgive, then you don't have the peace at all. So why do we need to forgive others? Why do we need to forgive others? Forgiveness helps helps to free us from the control of our offenders, of the person who offended us. And it also allows us to overcome the feeling of anger and resentment. It is also a form, forgiving is obedience. It's because the Bible commands us to forgive so that we also can be forgiven. We need to forgive first so that we can also be forgiven. And guys, I know in so many cases, each and every one of us has desired to be forgiven at some point. Regardless, was it a person you wanted to be forgiven by, or by God? In one way or another, we have desired to be forgiven at some point in our lives. So put yourself in the other side of that person and think that the state that you were at that time that you needed to be forgiven is the state that they are right this moment, that they also need your forgiveness. They need to be forgiven. So you need to let go and start over in a new relationship. Mind you, there's so many people that have carried grudges for like a whole year, a whole month. Probably there's some people who have lived with unforgiveness for the whole of this year. But I think it's about time to let go. It is about to have a new start, a new beginning of life, so that we can have peace, so that we can experience the joy that comes with forgiving. Because guys, unforgiveness changes you into being a bitter person, into being a very different person, into being an angry person, as a person who is very sad, a person who hates him or herself, because you feel like, because you're having so much burden you're carrying in your heart, so you're not able to move on, you're not able to do good things. You need to forgive. Just have a new beginning. And especially in this season where Christ has been born, and especially, and of course, as we approach the new year, just decide to forgive. Decide to have a new beginning. Decide to have something special, something new, and new experiences, because it is very, very important. The solution is not to keep quiet on the offender. The solution is not to push them away. The solution is not to pull away from them. No, the solution is to forgive, forget, to let go. And like I said, it's a process. Decide to do it. And therefore you're going to be able to pray about it, because you, at the end of the day, you'll find yourself like, the pain is easing each and every single day. The pain is going away, the hurt is going away, and before you know it, you would have forgotten everything. You would have been feeling better and better, because you need to rebuild yourself. See the other side of the positive side of forgiving, because it is very, very important. If you need a peaceful life, if you need a happy life, then decide to forgive the person who has hurt you the most. Forgive them, whether they have hurt you in a very big way or in a very small way. Forgive anyway, because that is what the Bible tells us. And like I've said, that forgiveness is obedience. And I'm gonna leave. I'm just gonna leave some verses of the Bible that talks about forgiveness. Go through them, and may the Holy Spirit of God help you on how to deal with these things, because sometimes I know it is hard. May the Holy Spirit of God help you at this moment as you journey to forgive, as you begin to forgive, as you decide to forgive and to let go of the heart and have a new beginning of life. May the good Lord help you so much. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for listening to me. If you like this video, please share it with the family and friends. And remember that Jesus Christ is the reason that we are. I love you so much, guys.